on table number 2. What a match in prospect. Please welcome one of the most colourful characters on the circuit. Here after victories over Ken Doherty and Stephen Hendry, an amazing run to the final in 2007 and a great quarter-final last year against John Higgins. The two-time Masters champion, the jester from Leicester, Mark Selby.
On the right.
And finally, please welcome a true genius of the modern game, bidding for his 9th appearance in a Crucible semi-final, winner of 22 ranking event titles, 3 times a world champion, 4 times a UK champion, the world #1, blink and you'll miss him, it's the Rocket, Ronnie O'Sullivan!
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. The first frame, Ronnie O'Sullivan to break.
Ronnie O'Sullivan then gets the first frame of this fascinating quarter-final underway. Not the best of break-off shots. He's left a possible long pot for Mark Selby into the left corner with the chance of getting onto the black. Have a look at that pot success rate, 93%. Mark Selby, 92, Ronnie O'Sullivan. The double kiss. Well, could have been worse, I suppose, but there is a chance for Ronnie. Both players will take a little while to settle in, you would feel. What do you think, Willie?
Well, it's the afternoon after the day before, and if it was like yesterday, you'd fancy a Ronnie O'Sullivan, but it's such an enigma, you never know what you're going to get. Yesterday it was flawless. It really was. One of the best sessions I've seen him play. But it's a new day, a new dawn. Will it be O'Sullivan again, who's continuing where he left off?
Always nice to get an early chance in any match. Referee for this quarter-final from Glasgow, Leo Scullion. Arm replacement.
7. Thank you. Eight.
Now there is a red at the back of the bunch that's available, but we know what Ronnie's like. Just depends how he feels as to whether he'll go into them here. No, he's playing for the... Well, there's 2 reds available there. It's gone too far though. And now he'll have to judge this well when pushing through the pink and reds. Got to be a bit careful here. There's a bit of a gap he might go through when he cannons into them, which he did.
14.
And that was well judged. Well controlled there. He knew that there was a chance of just cannoning a few balls, but finding the gap.
always get a sense by when you look at Ronnie's face when he's playing to what kind of mood he's in, and
90.
he looks like he's in the mood to play today. Yesterday, the middle session of yesterday's game with Mark Williams, I mean, how he got out of that session 8 all, I don't know. He just didn't fancy the job at all. His demeanour was terrible in the chair, but he got out of it 8 all, and of course then he played brilliant in the last session. Today his demeanour looks a lot better,
20.
and that's worrying signs for most people when he's in that kind of mood.
Well, I remember watching that final in the Welsh Open in 2008,
27.
and Ronnie led 8-5. And
28.
I think Mark Selby got to him in that and won the last 4 frames. Ronnie said that Mark was playing a bit slow, but didn't seem to be doing. He was just playing to try and beat Ronnie O'Sullivan, and he did that in the end. In the deciding frame, that was quite a comeback. I think he's come up a bit short. That could be the end of break here.
45.
No way through to that one, so he's not going to make enough points to take this opening frame. He's going to need another chance.
A little bit unlike Ronnie that, he had plenty of margin of error to get the cue ball right into open play. Another foot he could have gone. So just a missed first frame, it's always time to settle. So the break comes to a premature end at 35, but good safety shot after it.
Yeah, as Willie said there, he had a lot of margin for error. He could have ran that cue ball another, well, up to 12 inches. Even 18 inches, he'd have still had a pot. But this is something he's been doing throughout this World Championship, Ronnie. If he does make a mistake, you know, he just gets on with his safety shot, goes back to his seat, and you know, keeps himself fully focused. Be interesting to see how this pans out, because there's always just that. You sense, well, he's just a little touch of needle when these two play, which is good for the game.
Yeah, the fact that Ronnie's lost in 2 very, very close matches to Mark, both when he's been a few frames behind. So I think it's one of those games this time, the Crucible. I wouldn't fancy Selby if he was a long way behind going into the last session. I think he's got to stay close to him. If he got close all the way, I would fancy Selby. Well, good news and bad news. Good news is had a fluke, which means he's not left Ronnie anything easy, but the bad news is not on a colour. So sometimes the fluke costs him plenty. This time it doesn't appear to have cost him much.
Yellow ball, thank you. Mark Selby, 1.
Had to leave the white over that side of the table so as he would cover the red that's closest to the right corner pocket. So he left an easy escape for Ronnie. And Ronnie's got to leave the white in a similar position. No use trying to play him behind green or brown. You'd leave that red on. Even if he cannons the yellow on the way back, he'll still be okay here. Which he managed to do, but as I say, everything looks to be covering each other. He'd have much preferred not to have cannoned into the yellow, but now it's a good target to get in behind that yellow. Just looking to see what will happen the red when he plays off it, but this is a bit of a chance if he judges this correctly. That's the sort of angle he could take to get down to the yellow. Looks pretty good.
Looks excellent. That 34-point lead could evaporate very quickly if Ronnie doesn't get this safe, and it's tough. He's just looking to see if there's a gap through the red and pink to drop on the one that's absolutely tight on the cushion. That's the one he'd like to play. My colleague Dennis has put that line up for me, and that looks absolutely the line he needs to take, and he can get away with this if he gets that gap. Just flicked the other red, but the same result. Just slightly misjudged it, and he's got away with it. Good shot.
This match will be played to a conclusion tomorrow, 2 sessions, morning and evening. It's a pretty cagey start from both players.
Yes, the 35-point lead is getting bigger as we speak, or 34-point lead, because every red that goes to the cushions in Ronnie's favour. He can play this pot, but well, if he pots it in the middle of the pocket, there is actually a gap between red and black to get back in the board. But if he pots it slightly thinner than he wants, he can't get through that gap. He's just coming round to see if he can get that gap. But every red that's going near the cushion is helping Ronnie not mark.
Can he see enough of that red to attempt that shot? If he does try it and he gets through that gap, will he? I'll buy you a drink later, because it's such a narrow gap, but what a shot it would be. I think he would cannon one of the reds. Well, he didn't even try it, but well, it's not a bad result.
The middle red, that the 3 that are in line with the pink, the middle one of those 3 will cut in the corner, but that's fraught with danger. And there's that shot that Dennis put the line up before, where he can play the red tight behind on the cushion behind the black and get in behind the yellow. I don't at first glance think he can push the red over the corner, but he's taking an alternative. Is he taking his pot on? There's your answer. He didn't, and what an excellent save. He's played a bit harder. That would have been good. Just a bit shorter pace.
just a little bit of the red sticking out. You can pass the pink, and there you clearly see the shot that he's faced with. Some good safety play here, and this is another one. Just a little bit too hard. No value in the pot. The one nearest the pink will pot, but he'd go straight into all the reds. So just another safety. Well, that's unusual. What is it? 9 reds, all congregating near this back cushion. And Mark Selby can't see one of them. No problem escaping from it here.
Yes, a 35-point lead with 9 reds safe is probably equivalent to a 60-point lead with 6 reds in open play. So Ronnie's still strong favourite for this frame. If Mark Selby gets a chance, there's a lot of work to do to get back into the frame. He is blessed with a great knowledge around the table, Mark Selby. I personally make him my top 4 all-round players now, as far as he can do everything. Temperament, break building, safety play.
Knows his way around the table so well, we might christen him Satnav Selby.
It's got a bit of a ring to it, actually, isn't it, Satnav Selby? I like that. The Jester from Leicester, that's a better name, though, isn't it? That's good.
What was yours, Willie? Willie from... Doesn't sound right, Willie from Leicester.
No. Good pot, but on nothing.
One.
Yes, obviously used to be the great WT. Now it's not the so great WT. He's not in the black, is he? Surely. Surely somebody from Leicester can't have that much luck.
Well, that's incredible. If he has finished on the black here, that is one of the all-time great positional shots with the aid of a fluke.
He'd already in Dennis, wouldn't have hit pot, so he's certainly not able to pot it. No value at all in playing the pot on the yellow, so he'll be playing the safety. Unless it rolls off and he pots it, which it did do. It just rolled a little bit. Didn't want that to go in.
Yeah, he had no idea what was going to happen to cue ball there, and for a moment it looked as if he'd dropped on the black. Now this is going to be fun and games along the top cushion here. I was going to say they're looking for a thin contact.
Foul and a miss. Mark Selby, 4.
Little surprised Ronnie played it quite as thin as this, because if he wanted to get in towards the brown area, he'd have to hit it a little bit thicker like that. And OK, he's brought a red out, but as long as you get a good white, you don't mind your opponent having a crack at this, and he will have a pot at this one, Selby. You can see enough of it to pot it.
Now I'm just wondering if he can pull off. He's got terrific amount of cue power. He's got an angle to pot the yellow, but can he somehow get the white to come up towards the reds? There's a couple of ways of doing it. He'd have to come off the side cushion. Either that or screw it directly up, but the whole thing would be getting up into the red, so he may just try and screw it directly up the table. No, he used the cushion, and well, he was close. He may be snookered when the yellow goes back on its spot. That's an easy escape, but it's a good effort, that. He wasn't far off it. That's close to the pink. That come off a bit square.
Foul and a miss. Mark Selby 3, Ronnie O'Sullivan 6.
Ronnie put it back this time because there's no easy safety shot for Ronnie. It's only a fraction, Leo. Yeah, he's having a look at the monitor, but there's moved very little. No, not that much, I don't think. Pink only moved slightly. It's not going to make a great deal of difference. One of the reds moved a fraction as well. Bit easier for Ronnie to get down behind the green this time, off this red to the left. He'll swing it around the angles. Oh, this looks good. If it checks up, not just too hard.
Yes, if you can see enough of it to clip it in the right hand corner, he'll play the pot. Not really helping 1 point at a time, is it? But obviously if he keeps getting the snookers and gets a few points off them. But it's just one safety shot, isn't it, for either player? Because if they play it thick off either side of those cluster of 6 reds, the black's going to come into play and so are the reds. So Ronnie will be reluctant to play it, Mark will want to play it.
Yellow ball.
Playing the yellow in behind the brown now, and that's going to be a tough one to hit. This will test Dennis's lines.
Mark Selby 1.
He's playing the swerve shot. I just put a line up there. The first part of the line, I rushed it, Willie. You made me rush it there, and the first line's a bit long, but that's, he's going to go right round the angles, but that is an alternate. But he's using more cushions. It's a wider target from this side, and that's pretty good. Absolutely spot on.
We've seen over 40 century breaks this year, Dennis, but I know there's not going to be any end to this for a little while, but we've seen some very, very good safety. Just got to be careful you don't kiss the blue when playing twice across here behind the green. That's what he's done.
Yeah, Willie, one of the pulse questions the other day was, you know, do you enjoy the tactical side of the game of snooker? And it was over 90% said yes.
This is that attacking safety shot I said that could be played. So he played it slightly thicker there to bring the black into play. Now Mark Selby will definitely take this red on because he's got his hand on the table and he'll crash into these 5 reds. Now the only reason there's advantage here, obviously he's 31 behind, but he'd be unlucky not to be on the colour where the balls are. I think there's plenty of value in taking this on and opening those reds up. There's an easy safety shot on, but he needs to get back into this frame. He may not get a better chance.
He is taking it on, so he'll be relying on a little bit of good fortune to get onto the pink or black when he cannons the reds. That was always going to be the problem. You're never sure what's going to happen to cue ball, but it was a very attacking shot and very unlucky to stick in there.
It actually screwed back off the red, Dennis. It did off the cushion. Now how could that happen? He's played with topspin, hit the ball, it's flicked off another red and onto the cushion, and then screwed back off the next ball. So the topspin all of a sudden became backspin after the second hit. We may get a chance to show you that again. It was weird.
Yeah, I'll let you talk us through that again, will you? I didn't quite get it the first
you
time.
see, it hits the thin off the red, hits the cushion, and then spins back off the second red. So the topspin became screw back off the second red.
Yeah, got you, Willie.
I confused myself there.
Mark Selby, 8.
This could turn out possibly to be the longest frame of this quarter-final. We've been going now for not far off 25 minutes. And you see, just it's 20 minutes since Ronnie last potted a red.
Foul.
Now that came off the cushion
Selby.
quite square there. It straightened up that one, Willie, didn't it?
Yes, it did, didn't it? That's the only complaint we've had about the table. It seemed to square up off the first cushion. Now, if the middle red of the three that are in slightly in open play, he pots, he'll play it, but obviously it's very tight, as you can see there. There's one thing for certain, I'll be surprised if Ronnie hits the blue this time. Doesn't appear, Dennis, to have to go too close to the blue, do you think?
Yeah, the line, well, I've got the line up, so he wants to get that sort of line. It looks like he's going to look at another way of getting to the same spot. But the first shot was probably easier, but he's using an extra cushion going this way. See, that's squaring up as well, and he's left a pot this time.
Yellow's not a bad ball to get onto here because it's easier to get into the reds. If you want to risk coming all the way around for pink or black, obviously you can into the reds then, but if you finish somewhere in between the brown and the yellow spot with a cue ball, cut the yellow in and play the smash into the reds. Going all around the table, he's got to get an angle from somewhere. So this is a shot he's played. He's purposely played for the yellow. If you can see the yellow, that is. Well, that's amazing, isn't it? This frame has got another 10 minutes left in it now.
Mark Selby, 1.
Can see enough of the cushion just to come off the one cushion and land onto the reds.
This is another excellent safety shot from Mark Selby. Not too sure whether Ronnie can just flick the red next to the pink. He's getting down quite quickly. Now if he can flick this one, there's half a chance of getting the cue ball in behind the brown here if it hits it nicely. Just a little bit sticking out. Now has he got behind the brown? If he misses the green he might do. No, just to the wrong side of the green. But Mark's done really well here. He's winning the safety battle and clawing away at the deficit, and he's only 17 points behind now. Mark Selby has got the similar path this time, and he may have got behind the brown. He knows his way around the table, this Selby fellow. I'll tell you, that's another excellent try. Very clever shot from Ronnie. He knew that if he caught it thin, the cue ball would be up in the ball carrier, and he knew if he hit it a little thicker, he'd got every chance of pushing the red safe, and that's what happened. Now this will be a tempter for Ronnie. 17 points in front. If he gets on the black here, he's got every chance of winning the frame now at this visit. But he's taken the other one, so that means he feels he can miss the kiss on the red on the cushion on the way back into balk. To be honest, I don't know how he could miss the kiss there. He had to pot it for me, which meant the other red I thought was a little easier to get safe.
Well, yeah, Hazel, it all looked so easy earlier on when Ronnie O'Sullivan got in, and well, he just ran slightly out of position, and we have had some marvellous tactical play. It's been fascinating. Might well turn out to be the longest frame of the match. That's spoiled his position.
3.
He was just rolling the red in to leave that red to the right of the bunch. Under-hit it by quite a way. He had a lot of margin for error, didn't get on the red, and since that it's been all tactical and some superb safety play, Willie.
Having looked at the position of the balls there when we saw that last picture, you can't believe that 9 reds ended up around the black spot area at the top cushion, and the frame time just coming up to 33.5 minutes. Ronnie O'Sullivan potted a great red just as you joined us, and once again excuse me, once again has lost position. So he could take this on if he wanted to. He could stun across for the green or blue, but if he feels he's got a chance of covering the red over the one next to the pink with the blue, he might take this on, but doesn't like it. I just don't see the point of playing the red next to the pink unless you're going to knock that red safe. Why would he not take the pot on, Dennis, and just stand across for the green here?
A good point, Willie, and I know he's attempted a few pots, and I think
Sullivan, 3.
because we've had such a bout of safety play, I think they're going to wait for an easier chance. It's so easy to lose your rhythm. And as you mentioned, there was 9 reds got in behind the black spot area, which is very unusual.
Another excellent safety from Mark Selby. Ronnie certainly won't be moving the red off the cushion. If he plays the 2 cushion escape, it's a tough one to hit. He'll come off one cushion and the one near the pink spot area and try and hit it full ball and leave the white on the black cushion and send the red past the middle pocket area, but it can go wrong. You can always pot it as well. Is that up there with one of the best flukes you've seen, Dan?
Yeah, it's just his positional side of the fluke wasn't very good, Willie, but everything, there's no smiles, there's a little bit of tension out there, and I think there's a little bit of needle when these 2 players meet, which is quite a good thing. They've had so many close tussles, but what a fluke that could have turned out to be if he had dropped on a colour. I think I mentioned it earlier. We go back to that Welsh Open final when Ronnie led 8-5 and Mark came back and beat him, and Ronnie was a little bit annoyed about how slow he played, but
Ronnie O'Sullivan, 1.
come back from 8-5 to beat Ronnie O'Sullivan, that was quite an achievement by Mark Selby. So it all adds to this fascinating quarter-final.
Mark's looking to see if he can get cushion first here and hit it very thin and get the white back into baulk. The only thing that worries me looking at that shot, I'm not too sure whether he can get the white past the black. I'm just thinking of trying to push the red on the black cushion. I don't know. If he plays it cushion first, the white would be running loose. He might just be trying to nudge the red on the cushion. He's played it pacey. I couldn't see how he could miss the black with the white.
Well, he's going to be banging trouble, and it's advantage Ronnie O'Sullivan. He'll be snookered behind the pink, and he'll be in all sorts of bother here. No matter how good you are at the angles to hit this and get it safe, you need a little bit of good fortune, and he's going to come off a couple of cushions to try and catch the red. Can he pass the black enough? I think he might be able to. If he can see enough of that angle, that's what he was thinking of doing. Well, he's looking at that angle and he's looking at clipping the red to get safe, but I think just to hit the red will be a good shot. Doesn't want the white to go in the middle pocket, but can he create enough spin to get round near that line? He's in the middle pocket as a thought, and that could be 4. The end of this opening frame.
Yes, 25-point lead. Ronnie feels that putting the white on the green spot, the red was not straightforward to cut in, and he realised how tough this is to hit.
Yeah, what if he pots it this time? It's in the pocket again, that's amazing.
Foul and a miss. Ronnie O'Sullivan.
Is that telling us the shot's not on, Dennis, or does he need to play it with a little bit more stun to try and widen the angle?
Well, he's pretty close to the black, but I think when you're striking down on it, he's losing the natural angle.
He could actually play it off 3 cushions, couldn't he? But then, of course, he wouldn't. Yeah, he'd not bound to leave any distance between a cue ball and object balls. Now, where's the cue ball going? That's not too bad. I don't think there's an easy pot on here. Okay, he might be snookered tight behind the blue this time, but he's done pretty well there not to leave anything straightforward. I bet Mark Selby's getting a bit sick of this, Dennis. Every time he comes to serve, he's snookered.
Yeah, sure.
it's one of those situations if he tries to hit the red that's to the right of the black, he would leave the one for the middle pocket. So he'll do well to get out of this snooker and get it safe. Well, who would have thought this opening frame would have been lasting this long? We're not far off 40 minutes. He's been at the mid-session interval on numerous occasions after 40 minutes. Played 4 frames, as indeed Mark Selby has. He's hitting the knuckles, so anything could happen.
Foul and a miss. Ronnie O'Sullivan, 4.
This could be just one of those snookers, Den, where the next time Ronnie comes to the table, Mark Selby could need snookers himself, because playing it the way he did, he could give 20 points away here, and another 20 points on the board would put Ronnie over 43 points in front, and it's not easy to hit this at all. Do you agree with the misrule when it could cost you the frame from a difficult one, Dan?
It's tough, isn't it? That's why Steve Davis came up with the idea after 3 misses. The opponent could place the cue ball on the table anywhere he wished. That's in the pocket.
Foul and miss.
At least we know now that angle is on, Dennis, don't we? So he can continue to play that. But he's now 37 points behind. Misses again 41, misses again 45. So all of a sudden, the idea of Steve Davis is not such a bad one.
Is it going to reach?
Foul and a miss. Ronnie O'Sullivan, 4.
You see, they used to call it a deliberate miss, but I mean, you're not going to play a deliberate miss if you're going to leave yourself needing a snooker.
Yeah, especially now it's a must hit, isn't it? And we've already seen how difficult this is to hit. So this could cost him the frame, this next shot. And it has cost him the frame. So Ronnie's brilliant bout of snooker safety could be enough.
Well, we're going to have a pulse question for you. And here it is. Will you think that this is going to be the longest frame of the match? 42 minutes. You can vote at bbc.co.uk/snooker and click on the pulse.
Yes, if Ronnie'd have missed that red, I'm sure it would have been.
1 and the frame.
Yeah, it's been a long, hard opening frame, and it's always nice to win a long frame, but Ronnie O'Sullivan takes it, and he puffs his cheeks. It's 1-0 to the Rocket.
As quiet as possible, please. Thank you. The second frame, Mark Selby to break.
Well, I can see this being a very, very quick frame rather than a slow one, to be honest. The black has gone safe, so you never know. Dennis, we've got the answer to the Paul's question.
Well, let's see, this will be very interesting. 76% say yes. I think 76% will be correct. But you never know with this game.
I will be amazed, personally, if a frame in this match goes longer than 42 minutes again.
Well, that's cleared the black, but it's not an easy pot. But that was a good opener there after what happened in the first frame. But that always can happen when you've had that long bout of tactical play. You just lose your rhythm a little bit. You need a few easy pots just to get yourself going again.
It was a little bit like Mark Selby's previous action where he used to decelerate, Dennis. He didn't go through the ball there at all, did he? It was a very hard shot to hold.
One.
But normally Selby's blessed now with a lot better cue action and gets through the ball well, but this one from Ronnie wiped his feet.
Well, that's a useful little nudge on the pink there.
7.
He's got the perfect angle here. There's a couple of loose reds, and maybe he's gone a little bit too far to cut the blue in and disturb the pack. Looks as if he could do it, but I must admit Ronnie's been going about it playing for the loose reds rather than getting the pack open as he normally does. Let's see what he does this time. That's pretty good. A lot of them didn't
12.
develop, but he is on one.
Little wry smile from Dennis, from Ronnie Dennis. I mean, he went into those and just 2 reds came out. But fortunately, top side of the red, so he can play for blue, pink or black on this cue ball here. And that's a very surprising miss. Or is it a miss? Not another fluke, surely.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, 12.
He seemed to rush that red into the middle pocket. I mean, that's a straightforward pot. That's the type of thing that will annoy Ronnie a little bit. I know he's been very focused, very controlled, but a few shots like that and it can get him annoyed.
1.
This is Mark Selby's first scoring chance. You can't believe he remained in the first frame for so long with a high break of 8. And he was in the first frame till there was 3 reds left. Because with a lot of snookers played, he got a lot of penalty points before he ended up losing the frame with the penalty points. But this is his first scoring opportunity in this match. Nice little cannon here will help.
Well, let's see how the cannon works out for Mark Selby. Ronnie didn't bring too many into play. Let's see what happens this time. Can you believe it?
Mark Selby, 7.
Well, I'm not sure if that plant was on. I didn't see Mark look at the bunch. No, you couldn't foresee that. There was no reds in line for the pocket. That was just unlucky. Fortunately, the white has stayed in a safe position. Yeah, when you play that split, you always have a glance at the pack to see, and I mean that plant's not on the red. The first red has hit the red to the right and then made the cannon, which was very unfortunate. Now let's have a look what happened. See, that first red hit the other red and it just forced the red into a position to make the plant. Not the best this time. Mark's safety has been extremely good, but just a miscalculation there. Well, there's the tournament safety success rate. It's pretty high from Ronnie, 90%. I think both players are still up in the 90s with their pot success rate. 92 each.
Just can't get his hand on the table. You'd fancy him knocking this red in for fun if he could reach it nicely. But just because he's queuing awkwardly, it made it missable. Missable by a large margin, a long way. So Selby gets chance number 2 in the match.
White.
Yeah, this is one of the very few chances
6.
that Mark's had in amongst the balls.
7.
As I say, you soon settle down again once you get a few nice pots and good positional shots. You're off and running again. Having said that, unintentional cannon onto the blue. If he's straight on this red, he can hold for the pink. He's coming around to look at the black, but I don't think it goes into the left corner. Always worth having a glance, but it's not dead straight. So he's going to have to run it off the cushion.
$12. $17. $18.
Yeah, just for a second, Mark stopped in his tracks. He thought that white was going to nestle on the pink, and he would have blocked himself for that pot.
$24.
Well, Mark Selby's in a position now where he's got every chance to win the frame at this visit.
25.
Just lost the cue ball a little bit there, I think. Yes, he has. That's a little bit careless. The red to the left of the black spot is the one he'd like to get on. If he was on the blue, he could have got on that no problem. Give himself a little bit to do now from colour to red. Very, very good recovery. Did well from there, especially if it's on the one at the bottom of to the right of the pink, which is not the one he's played for. He's played for the one on the black spot.
We're going to have a second pulse question for you. Simply, who will win this match? Vote bbc.co.uk/ and click on pulse.
34.
I think one of the two reds that look to be tied up is available. So if the white pulls up, well, it hasn't done. He may have to cannon them now, but has he got a good enough angle to? Yeah, he could do. He could just develop both the reds here, you would think. Well, has he got a lot of? Yeah, he played it well. The back red does go, so had to play that with quite a bit of side there, and he achieved it
41.
Perfectly. Both reds would pot, in fact. So it looks
42.
Almost certain that it's going to be one each, and this one just a little bit quicker than the previous one. So just over 12 minutes. You see Hazel in the studio. She knows everything about the game. Really, she knew this was going to be a 12-minute frame, didn't she?
Yes, this is the length of frame I expect most frames in this match to be, even with a little bit of safety. Frame safely in the bag now for Mark Selby, and now both players have got the cue arm going.
57.
So that's already the highest break in the match. Well, he made a break of 35 and
59.
eventually taking the opening frame. That'd be interesting. Paul's question at some stage.
62.
We maybe ask you, do you think will make the highest break in this match? They're both very, very good break builders. We may get that one to you later on in the match.
66. $71.
Little exhibition shot from Selby. Perfect on the black. This has been a good performance. It's been kept off the table the first frame and a half. Remember, with 3 reds left of the first frame, his high break was 8. Trying to do the complete clearance, and he nearly did it, but he'd be delighted if that lost the first frame, came back very, very strong, and won the second frame with a break of 84, and he levels at 1-all. The worrying thing, Dennis, for me there, was that Ronnie was in the balls, having won the scrappy first frame, got on the red in the middle, and he missed an easy one.
Well, I thought he seemed to get down a little bit quick on it. We're just showing you the shot, but he seemed to approach it quite casual. And this is, I mean, such an easy pot. And he was concentrating on getting good position, and can't afford to miss those. And he knows that. And we've got the answer to our last pulse question, and there it is. Who will win this match? Oh, it's... well, 62%, 38. I would think that's probably about right.
Yeah, the betting suggests that Ronnie O'Sullivan's favourite. You know, I think it's 2-5, 7-4, which is about the same result as that Paul's question. It's a tough one to call. If it goes close, I would fancy Selby, but you know, I can see one of them running away with it, and if one did, he'd favour O'Sullivan.
Thank you.
But tough frame, that one.
Frame. Ronnie O'Sullivan to break.
It's a pretty good break off that. Mark Selby has 2 reds either side of the blue, both of which are a little bit tight. Can't quite tell here whether he's just playing the safety up and down, because he's queuing very low. I presume that's what he's doing. With a lot of side, yeah, that's what he's played. And this looks very good indeed. This could be tight on the green. Good effort.
That is one of the most frustrating things in the game of snooker, when you play a safety shot and you hit one of the ball colours. Pet hate by all snooker professionals. The late and great Eddie Charlton from Australia used to get really annoyed, and he'd have a little swear to himself on the way back to the seat. Just showing you the cue power that he has. He made that into a shot to nothing, tried the pot, but made sure he screwed the white back into the balk area.
Well, obviously a lot thinner than he wanted to. He played a little bit thicker and the white in behind the yellow, caught it thin. Both these red will pot. Pink available in the middle and in the corner, but I don't think he's got the angle on either red to make that straightforward. And neither red he can get on nicely on the pink in the middle or in the corner. He's come around to have a look whether the black he can get on the black at anyway. I just think if he played one to get on pink or black, if you, I mean there's a chance of getting a gap through those reds, but doesn't look straightforward at all. Well, all of a sudden, he's not queuing.
Well, where's the red going to finish up? Where is the red going to finish? Right in the jaws of the pocket, but as you mentioned, Willie, that was poor queuing from Ronnie O'Sullivan, so all of a sudden he's played a few careless ones. Now, whether that long opening frame has affected his queuing, shouldn't have, the fact that he won the frame, but he missed an easy red in the previous frame in the middle pocket, and that cost him, and didn't even get it in the jaws of the pocket, that one.
Four. Five.
Almost made a bit of a difference, but you can still see enough of the red, even though the pink's on the black spot. Oh, but
12.
End of break now. Misjudged the cannon. I can only assume he thought he was going to cannon straight into the red and leave the pink there. That was quite unusual.
Mark Selby, 12.
Well, that's almost as good as a snooker. Because to try and clip a red and get back down the table from that position, and if he takes this on, this will be an amazing escape, because when you're bridging like that, yeah, it's just rolling to it. To try and clip that and get back down the table was so difficult. Cushion escape. Played it well. Such a difficult shot, that. First player I ever seen play that shot was the Canadian Cliff Thorburn. First player to make a maximum break at the Crucible Theatre. It's amazing that that shot was never thought about before the Canadians came on the scene.
It's like the one that Stephen Hendry developed, the half-ball blue and screw into the pack rather than just stun down. It wasn't until he developed that I think that was probably by watching pool players play, maybe. There's always somebody finds a way of improving virtually every game. They've done it at golf with the equipment.
And plants, that was another side to the game that, unless it was a set plant, but you know, that Big Bill Werban and Cliff Thorburn, they were always looking in the bunch to see if they could make a possible plant. Now, does he risk this one? I mean, if he takes this red on, he'd have to cannon the pink to guarantee getting on the black. And he's looked at it and he doesn't. Well, he is taking it on. Not easy. And he did cannon the pink. That's a beautiful shot. That really is the shot of a player that's growing in confidence.
Eight. Nine. $14.
Have to swing this around the angles again for the blue, but shouldn't be a problem. That's the sort of angle, unless you can screw straight back, but just depends on the angle. Yeah, he could screw straight back, as long as he gets the correct side of the blue. Well, as I say, he got the correct side of the blue. Hawkeye just showing it there that he can do what he wants with this cue ball. He's just having a little look to see what is available without having to cannon into them. If there's nothing there, well, he can force this in, and well, you would think if he did cannon into balls, he would leave something on. Let's see how he plays it. Now, what's he going to disturb? Could have been better. You're never sure what's going to happen, and there may be a red possible, but I don't think he can get on a colour. So Ronnie blowing his cheeks there again.
Mark Selby, 20.
Yeah, I'm not sure if Ronnie's lost just a little bit of focus here with all the tactical play we had in the opening frame.
Foul and a miss. Mark Selby, 4.
If that white keeps on coming, he'll be able to get past it. Ronnie's anxiously coming round to see if he can get through to the red to the right of the black, and I think he can. That was unusual for Ronnie to walk all the way up this end of the table rather than just back to his seat. Well, he's up in the press box with the boys there that know more about snooker than we do, will he? Gone a bit scrappy this frame. Oh, he's been lucky. Very, very fortunate there, Mark Selby.
Trying to screw in behind one of the baulk colours there will certainly get a good white, but he hasn't got a good white, and he's also pushed reds to both corners, both of which are fraught with danger if you miss them, of course, but not if you pot them. There's every chance here he could get on the black here with a couple of good kisses.
One.
A couple of good kisses, but not on the black. In fact, he snookered himself on all colours. You're always trusting to luck when you play that type of shot, but you don't expect to be snookered on all the colours. I think the yellow would be the colour he would nominate.
Would you risk playing off 2 cushions, Dennis, to play the snooker, or would you hit it a little bit harder than that? Can you get to the brown? I think that's, you know, if you do play behind that, would you play the snooker?
I'll try and hit the yellow sort of going from this side of the table rather than coming off the baulk cushion, because if you don't get it right, you're going to leave a pot. This is much better, the swerve, because if he flicks the yellow, he'll get the white nearer to the cushion. Very good.
As good a shot as we've seen today. Excellent. Ronnie hasn't played a good safety for a little while. Let's see what this one does. Oh, there you are. Ronnie's just lost his rhythm at the moment.
Well, he's looking at the other table now, Ronnie. He was in the press box previously. He was just having a little glance around the curtain there. So you would say maybe he's just lost a little bit of focus. He's just watching the other match. He was in the press box, the previous shot. He'll be heading up to the commentary box next, will he?
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see Ronnie commentate. Certainly looking a little bit uninterested at the moment, isn't he? As he was in the second session against Mark Williams, but then of course he's one of those players that can just turn it on and off for fun.
Well, he certainly won't be turning it on in this frame, because Mark Selby has a great chance to take it.
Nine.
There's one certain thing about Ronnie's opponent, Mark Selby. He won't be losing any focus. Still having a glance to see what's going
15.
on next door. It would be interesting if a player on the other table was playing a shot down that line and seen Ronnie in his line of sight. It would be a little bit off-putting, I suppose, to have someone like Ronnie watching the outcome of your shot.
Mark Selby just one red away from taking a 2-1 lead, and this has been an excellent performance from Mark, I should say. He's been very good in the last frame and a half. He's got Ronnie playing at his
24.
pace. Ronnie's shot time has gone up to 23 seconds a shot. Mark Selby's at 25, but there has been a lot of safety being played, to be honest.
Ronnie's highest break is only 35, 84 from Mark Selby, but I suppose the opening frame caused that, but that was just one frame.
$38. 49.
We have one more frame in this session before we go off to the interval. And you'd have to say Mark Selby showing a lot of character. When you lose a frame that lasts so long, you know, it just shows you his powers of concentration. He won't bother about missing that.
Mark Selby, 45.
Ronnie just nods to the referee, Leo Scullion, so he will set the balls up again. So Mark Selby looking pretty good. It's early days, but he's into the lead, 2 frames to 1.
Why is it possible, please? Thank you. Game 4. Mark Selby to break.
Well, in some ways, I think it's a massive frame for O'Sullivan. He'd be getting very frustrated if he goes into the interval trailing 3-1, having dominated the opening frame and had a couple of chances in the second frame, a couple of chances in that frame, albeit he lost it to nil. He had a couple of half chances. And the last 4 visits to the table, he hasn't played a safety shot right. I'm a little fortunate not to have left anything there.
I think it all stemmed from that easy red he missed in the middle pocket in the second frame after winning the long opening frame. Since he's missed that, he seems to have lost his way somewhat. You know, this was the red, in fact, that he missed in the second frame. Just a pretty straightforward pot. Just stunned down nicely on the blue, and yeah, that was careless.
Now can Ronnie play a safety shot right? There's a little bit of noise coming from the other table. They've just come to their mid-session interval just before us. Has Ronnie found the baulk cushion? This took a while, but it's close.
Bit too thin this time. And the white's coming right back up the table, and he's left a red, the one he played. There's a gap through to that. This is a bit of a chance. You see the crowd from the other side of the arena just going off for a cup of tea, cup of coffee, and it doesn't really affect you when you're playing on the next table, if you're focused, that is.
Yeah, key point, and we know that Ronnie's not focused at the minute. Obviously they would sit and watch the match if they could see it, but the screen, probably only 30 or 40 people that can see it, and there you can see the difference it makes. In proper concentration, Ronnie couldn't have missed that. And this is, when you get Ronnie like this is where you've got to, you know, put a little bit of distance between yourself, because Mark Selby's now has got an excellent chance to go 3-1 at the first interval.
Yeah, because inside Mark Selby be thinking to himself, you know, I've got Ronnie at it here, let's capitalise, and that's what you've got to do in these situations. Oh, the pink's in. Can you believe it?
Mark Selby 1.
Lucky is that.
Ronnie O'Sullivan 7.
Very unfortunate there. And where's the pink going to go?
Please, Ronnie.
Neil Scullion just said, just hold on a second, Ronnie, till I find a spot for the pink. It's a pretty steady finger there. Oh, can he just knock this in? Surely the black doesn't go, though. Well, it must.
1.
Must be tight, though. An unexpected chance for Ronnie O'Sullivan. And unlucky for Mark Selby to knock the pink in there.
Nine. $16. 17.
But this is the sort of thing that can happen with Ronnie. He looks as if he's not interested, and we've seen that in the previous frame. And then all of a sudden, unexpectedly, he's back at the table, and
24.
Don't be surprised if he doesn't win this frame in super quick time.
Yeah, similar pattern to we discussed earlier on against Mark Williams' second session. He came out 8-all. And the only time he wanted to play is when he was around the black spot. Any other time he just wasn't interested. And this last two frames has been exactly that. And all of a sudden, Dennis, as you rightly say, in the balls now. Looks like he fancies the job again.
42. Ronnie O'Sullivan 32.
Okay, he played it with his left hand, but he's usually very reliable with that. Slightly worrying times. It's early in this quarter final, but if you're a Ronnie O'Sullivan fan, you'd just be getting a little bit edgy, even though it's only the 4th frame.
Five.
Just a couple of inches too far. Now, can he push through the middle red and still go on the black? It could kiss into the loose red just below the pink. He's got to be a little careful there. See, it's just going to kiss into that red. I could see that happening. A little unlucky there. Just pushing through the red was no problem, but it was getting past that red he's just hit. So Ronnie will be delighted to have only seen 6 points scored from that miss.
Green ball. Mark Selby, 6.
One lone voice in the crucible shouting there, come on Ronnie. That's a better safety shot. He can get back down the table off the one on the right side. He'll just have a look to see where the red would go, but he can get back down towards the brown here. That's the shot that's available to him. I don't think he'd get the double kiss. Somewhere near that line or over behind the yellow would do, but depending on what side he gets on it. Didn't quite get it over where he intended, and there is a possible pot for Ronnie.
Yeah.
And he's having the cue ball cleaned, which tells me he's going to take it on. He will be on the black, and it's not really a high risk shot, because just looking at it, if he gets the white in the correct place, he wouldn't leave an easy pot, but he'd just be thinking about knocking this in. This could give him the frame.
Yes.
That's what makes him so special to watch, Dennis, isn't it? You know, 1 minute is no concentration at all and not interested. The next minute is rifling a red in that could win in the frame.
9.
Well, they're able to do that, the greats of the game. Stephen Hendry did it throughout the 90s, Steve Davis throughout the 80s. When they see one shot and they think, this can give me the frame, it's amazing the number of times they do knock it in. It's
60.
what makes great champions.
It'll hurt Mark Selby more this frame than the other frames. Oh, I was just going to say, because Ronnie's missed an easy ball and now he's missed another one.
Well, that's unforgivable. That is just a lapse in concentration. He put all the concentration into the difficult shot, had the ball cleaned, and then he's done that. Well, fortunately for him this time, he hasn't left anything, but it could have cost him this 4th frame. They have stuck that red up, but the black's blocking it. He was only a few pots away from heading off to the mid-session interval all square.
Mark Selby's every right to look a bit disappointed, but, you know, wouldn't you rather be at the table again, because if that red goes in, it's end of frame. At least now he can still win the frame. OK, Ronnie was a little fortunate not to have left a red on, but goodness me, I'd rather have missed the red than potted it. So. Just trying to put the white, I would imagine, up near the green pocket somewhere, which takes the... Oh, has he found a pot? Wow, why would he do that when he's back in the frame? But he's had a good fortune. Or has he? Or has he? He can get through to that, so he hasn't.
White.
I think he's okay. He can get through to the one near the pocket. He only needs
8.
this red. So no
9.
real fireworks yet in this quarter-final. Both players just look a little bit edgy, a little bit tense. It's just going to be fascinating to see how this one pans out.
Amazing enough, Ronnie's won 2 of his frames with a high break of 35. 35 in the opening frame to win it. Started with the 32 this frame to win it, and Mark Selby walking straight out of the auditorium. Very scrappy really for these 2 great players. It will improve, but we're all square at the mid-set interval. Up to wall.
Thank you, Hazel. And be interesting to see what's going to happen here after the mid-session
Thank
interval.
you. Frame 5. Ronnie O'Sullivan to break.
Well, he almost caught the blue, and he's turned out getting it in behind the green. That's not what he intended. Believe it or not, that was a miss-hit break-off shot, because have a look at the white. It almost cannoned the blue on the way back. Didn't intend that. I thought for a moment that Mark wouldn't be able to come off the side cushion, but he can. It's closest to the black.
Foul and a miss. Ronnie O'Sullivan 7.
He can't really play into the side of the reds because there's a red either side of the bunch that he could leave on. That was the reason he was coming off 3 cushions. It's tough to judge this because the cushions are sliding and it's not easy. He's having to swerve to try and get there now. That'll do. But he may have left a red though. He was trying to get the other 2.
Yes, his choice of reds for Ronnie. This one at least will be going up for blue or port colour. This is worrying times for O'Sullivan supporters in this afternoon session. I don't think he didn't miss 3 balls in the whole match. In the first and third sessions against Mark Williams, he's already missed plenty in this session.
Well, I know Mark Williams was heading home today. If he's watching this, he'll be well, he'll not be very happy seeing Ronnie missing quite a few, because he missed precious little against Mark. Another chance though. I think for me at the moment with Ronnie and well, maybe to a certain extent with Mark, concentration's the name of the game.
1.
Let's see how the cannon works out here. Well, what a beauty. What a beauty that is. And all of a sudden,
8.
they're there for the taking. With that one good shot there, he's opened all the table up.
Well, he hit the wrong ball there, and the black's not on. With frustration, I can see him taking the blue on here. Why he wanted to take that red, kissing into the other, I don't know. Didn't fancy him knocking that one in at all.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, 9. Thank you.
Well, just watch this. He hit the other red first, and I suppose he was lucky to pot the red, but he blocked the path to the black. There was an alternate, but it's as if he's lost a little bit of focus and concentration. 8 frames to be played in this first session. This match will conclude tomorrow morning and tomorrow evening.
One.
I know saying how warm it is in the Crucible Theatre, and just wiping his hands, and the queue I suppose is quite close outside.
Five. Six.
Black now going to be available into both corners, and blue's not causing a problem with the positional purpose at the minute, so this is a great chance for Mark Selby to go one clear again at 3-2. Certainly scoring the better of the two players.
$21. $22.
Not far off potting twice the amount of balls
29.
that Ronnie has, but
Well, Mark Selby couldn't have had a tougher draw in this tournament, could he? Started off with former world champion Ken Doherty, then 7 times world champion Stephen Hendry, now 3 times world champion Ronnie O'Sullivan.
37.
Not the easiest draw you could have, is it? But he's playing very well. He's yet to win the world championship, but I'm sure the way he's going, if not this year, he could possibly win it in the next couple.
$38.
didn't quite get into that as he intended. That's why he's a bit closer to the cushion than he wanted. It's okay. I think he can get through to the one. He just nudged out of the little triangle of reds. Okay, Mark will have to go up to the ball colours for his next shot, but then he can quite easily get back down to the reds. And Ronnie, well, he's had a couple of chances and he's slipped up.
$46.
To you get onto those two reds near the pink spot, it's as if you're trying to get a cannon onto the pink or the red to the left of the pink, anywhere in that vicinity, and you've got the choice of the two reds. Now let's just see where he does place this cue ball. He wants it to keep going a little bit further. Played it well. He knew anywhere in that vicinity he'd be on the two reds.
50. $51. $58. $59.
The lead goes to 43, the black 50, so one more red in colour. Selby would won a frame, having seen Ronnie O'Sullivan miss a couple.
$66. $67.
Bit of Selby cue power there, got through the ball very nicely. He's playing an opponent that really can get a lot of backspin on the ball, but hit that very good. He's done all the scoring, Selby, hasn't he? 84, he won in the second frame, 45 he won in the third. No breaks in losing the fourth, but once again 75 and counting and winning this. So every time he gets in, he is scoring, and that's the key thing. If you're going to beat O'Sullivan, you've got to outscore him, which is tough.
82.
Highly unlikely that he can make a century break here. He has made 141 in his professional career, turned pro in 1999, and he's made 30 centuries at the Crucible.
83.
Might still have a chance if he can pot the black and move the red. The angle is there for him, so it's just judging the cannon. He'd like to just push the red towards the middle pocket. What a beautiful shot. He'd have to take the double on now, but that was a good effort. If the double goes in, we'll have a century.
Mark Selby, 90.
No century, but Ronnie O'Sullivan had a few chances. But it was Mark Selby, when he got his, he took it. He made a break of 90. He now leads 3 frames to 2. Well, if you look at both players there, you just sense that Mark Selby seems to be slightly more focused than Ronnie. Ronnie has missed quite a few shots in this match. As I say, we'll just show you a few of them. That was the second frame, the red. Pretty straightforward. And this one, he normally knocks those in. Didn't cue it very well. Black, well, it wasn't really all that difficult for Ronnie. He concentrated on the cannon. Then one left-handed, which he's so reliable with. And then this, well, that was a bit of a sitter he missed there. So he'll have to, and this one here, just okay, awkward bridging, but it's still a comfortable pot. He's going to have to improve, will he?
Absolutely, Dennis, and in fairness, to be only 3-2 behind, having seen that little montage of 7 or 8 misses,
Mark Selby
done pretty well. So Mark Selby getting frame 6 underway, and he'll know in his own mind that he's got Ronnie missing, and that's exactly what he came into this session to try and do, compete with him, try and slow him down a little bit. And Ronnie, in this match alone, you can see his pot success rate, that's the lowest I'm sure he's ever been in his life, 78%. And in fairness, he's done well to win 2 frames with that pot success rate. If this is straight, he'll have a go at it, but it's not.
And Ronnie's going to have to come up with a couple of good safety shots to try and get an opportunity. And that's far too thin. And he's left this red. Might even have left one into either corner pocket, so that was pretty poor there. When you think he's trying to get the cue ball tight on the ball cushion, that's quite a misjudgment.
One.
He's potted 6 out of 6 with the rest, but he'd like to take that one again because he didn't get the cannon as he intended. So it was a success with the rest with regards to the pot, but look where he's left the cue ball. Well, that was a brave choice of shots. I thought he was looking at the other end of the table to see about playing a safety. To take that on, bridging over that red, was quite ambitious.
Very unusual for Mark to play the wrong choice of shots, especially as he's got Ronnie O'Sullivan on the rack at the moment. What you don't want to do is give Ronnie a chance to get his cueing arm going again, and this is a chance. If this goes in, he's obviously going to have no problem with the black. He may even play up for the blue now, but it depends on whether he feels he can just roll this in. I mean, Mark may have missed a trick here this session if he doesn't win it at least 5-3, the way Ronnie's playing.
The red to the left of the black's causing a little bit of a problem with regards to the position here. He's got a straightforward one into the middle pocket. What sort of angle has he got? Yeah, he could spin over for the black for the left corner, but if he can remove that red to the left of the black sooner rather than later, it would be good. That wobbled it, and Ronnie just, as I said, took his eye off the pot there, and that certainly would have frustrated him had he have missed that.
70. $24. 25.
'Well, he's let that
42.
go. Played that with reverse side and was hoping to be on the red for the middle. Luckily he's dropped on it for the corner.
43.
It's very rare, Dennis, that I've ever seen Ronnie misjudge a shot by so far as that. And that was definitely a bonus, because if that red wasn't available, which was lucky to be on it, there was nothing else. So still 3 reds and 3 colours. That'll put him some 50, virtually 60 points in front. But he's going to have to go into them at some stage. Is there any plants about, or will he have to play a cannon?
But it has to be said, he shouldn't have had this opportunity, because Mark Selby took one of the riskiest shots you could ever take on, hampered, trying to cut a difficult black in. Very unlike Mark Selby. 3-2 up. He had Ronnie going a little bit, and
45.
it was a very risky shot.
$46.
We'll just show it to you one more time. That is a very low percentage of potting that.
$52.
This is the last of the loose red, so angle on the pink left, and he's virtually going to hit this full ball, and the angle he's left himself, I'm not sure he can hit the red full ball. He's looking at a plant now in the middle. So if he runs through and hits the red full ball, he pushes the red to the right hand corner, but he's just had a little look at that plant in the middle. He feels it's a certainty, otherwise he wouldn't have played on it. The last glance, it looked to be set for the middle of the pocket.
Well, if the reds are touching, he's got to make the correct contact on the first, otherwise he'll push the second one away from the pocket. Right in the heart.
Still needs black and one more red. The black is okay, getting on the red is slightly more difficult. Pacey played that in the middle, very, very good. Try to get as close to the red as possible to make the pot in the middle easy, but as you can clearly see, overran it by quite a considerable margin, 5 or 6 inches. So the break comes to a premature end. Maybe just push the red on the cushion, but Mark Selby's still in the frame, albeit he has to pot all blacks.
Well, I'll take you back to Mark Selby's match with Stephen Hendry. He won a couple of frames from this position. In fact, he was 75 points behind in one frame against Stephen Hendry, a frame that would have put the 7 times former world champion 5-2 in front, and he got 2 snookers that he needed to tie and pinched the frame, and did exactly the same thing in the evening session and ran out a comfortable winner against Stephen Hendry in the end.
There's always turning points, isn't there, in every match? Also, we get a chance to get a turning point in this match, or this frame, and he's already conceded by the man's at the table, which is not usually the way forward when the points are like that, but he has done that. Could be warned, but I'm sure he won't be. Ronnie O'Sullivan did the high break of the match so far, 67 levels at 3-all.
Thank you. Frame 7, Ronnie O'Sullivan to break.
Yes, Hazel, 2 more to play in this session, and then we'll continue tomorrow morning, and then the match will conclude tomorrow night, maybe tomorrow afternoon and tomorrow night, I'm not sure. fact, they will be back to conclude the 2 sessions tomorrow afternoon and tomorrow evening, so back-to-back sessions. Which would tend to suit the players better. I don't think any of the players are keen at playing at 10 o'clock in the morning, although they get used to it here at the Crucible. Good queuing, but I don't think he's on the pink. That little wry smile tells you that. Just going back to the 10 o'clock sessions, Willie, while we show you this pot again. John Spencer, the late and great John Spencer, who won the first title here at the Crucible. When he was playing at 10 in the morning, he'd be wandering around Sheffield at 7 o'clock and chatting to the odd milkman just to make sure he was awake for 10 o'clock.
Mark Selby, 1.
I must admit, along with Ray Reardon, they were my favourite players when I was starting out playing. John Spencer was the first player to be able to play that deep screw shot, you know, from distance, wasn't he, Dennis?
Yeah, it was John Spencer that well, helped me to turn professional. He put my name forward, and the great players like Joe Davis, Fred Davis, although Joe wasn't playing at the time, but they hadn't got a clue who I was, and it was on John's recommendation that I was accepted as a professional. And I played so many matches against John Spencer. Used to play for the local newspaper in Blackburn, the Telegraph, Find a Champion. He used to go around and play in all the clubs and find all the top players.
Now Ronnie does have a dead straight red that he could screw back for choice of blue or bought colour, and maybe if he's confident he can just screw back 2 or 3 inches for the pink, because he won't. These are the 2 reds don't pot. It all depends how confident he is. If he's confident, he'll just screw back 3 or 4 inches. Well, I guess he's confident again now. What a difference the frame makes.
That could be a good name for a song, Willie. What a difference a frame makes. That long pot success rate, I'm sure, will improve.
7.
Certainly from Ronnie O'Sullivan.
8.
Well, if Ronnie somehow wins this session 5-3, John Parrott alluded to it in the studio, we've alluded to it in commentary. Has Mark Selby missed a trick this afternoon? Very rarely do you get Ronnie playing
15.
as poorly as this, and Mark Selby's actually playing well. It's just a couple of choices of shot selection that's gone wrong.
16.
If the back red is available, he'll play for that. If not, it'll be into them. It is available, and this will open the bunch up. It just depends as to whether he follows
23.
through or screws back, but he'll have the same result. He'll develop a couple. Well, only one on this occasion.
24.
That's all he needed. He'll have a look at his tip now to make sure that he hasn't taken a little lump out of it. Something you don't see very often, but the tip seems to be okay. It's so easy to just take a little nick out of that.
He's been talking about a great player in John Spencer, Ray Reardon. He used to always carry a file in his top pocket, so if he ever miscued, he'd get the little file out and just rough the tip up a little bit as Mark Selby knocks a cracking long red in.
1.
This really went high, didn't it, when Ronnie miscued? I mean, the cue ball bounced 7 or 8 inches over the top of the black. Look at that, amazing. Very rarely, because Ronnie is such a good cueist, you see Ronnie miscue.
Yeah, it was just when he delivered the cue, he seemed to
7.
go a lot lower than he intended to.
8.
Now, has he got an angle on the pink, or has he gone too far? I'll just show it one more time, and yeah, he went right into the bottom of the cue ball, much lower than he intended. That was never going to be easy from the angle he had. He may be able
14.
to get past the blue, but if he takes the pot on, he's going to cannon into the other reds.
This is another one of those situations, you know, he's got Ronnie playing a little bit iffy. You know, if he takes the pot on and misses it, it's such an easy safety shot to play him behind the yellow off 2-3 cushions. I'm not saying it's the wrong shot to take the pot on if you were kind of playing great and your opponent was playing great, you know, just try and knock him out of his stride, but he's got him out of his stride at the minute.
Well, to get in behind the yellow, as you mentioned, Willie, he's going to have to find the gap between the brown and the blue. Can he do that? That's a good effort.
Mark Selby, 14.
He's played it well. Might be an easy escape, though. Just off the side cushion to nestle onto the red. Shouldn't leave it on, really. Well, he's misjudged that.
Foul and a miss. Mark Selby, 4.
Shouldn't be a problem for Ronnie. He just needs to give this a little bit more concentration. The first part of my line might be just slightly out, but he needs to get nearer to that than where he was playing previously. This is better. Perfect. Oh, I said perfect. It's just flicked the red, and he can't pot it.
So we know the slower you play these balls, the pockets will take them better, so he doesn't have to do a lot with the cue ball here, just finish low on the black and then he can go black into the bunch. So this is half a chance. It's a slightly blind pocket, as you can see there. Just got to be careful he doesn't catch the near jaw on this. Played it well.
1.
I don't know whether he can arc the cue ball and screw into them from the side of the pack. He doesn't want to go into them direct because he might screw off them. Probably just have to play for one of the loose ones. There's plenty of them there. 3 in open play.
Eight.
In fact, you could see some marks there. Mark's just wiping the chalk off, but I've just noticed the finger marks. There you see it, and maybe that's an indication how hot it is there, and maybe the players' hands are just perspiring a little bit. And it's showing when they put their hand on the cloth. Some players tend to grip the cloth. There you see them. And Cliff Thorburn used to stay with you, Willie, and you'd practice with him. It would take weeks to get the marks out of the cloth because he used to grip the cloth. He's probably watching this at the moment, and he'll give me a telling off for that. He's arriving this evening in Sheffield.
That was really close, wasn't it? Yes, going back quickly to Cliff. 14. It was almost a pleasure when you got to the interval against Cliff because you knew the table was going to be boarded and all the finger marks might be out. But he used to leave a few marks on the table. He used to drag his hand back.
Well, speaking of marks on the table, that was a bad miss from Mark Selby. How costly will it be?
One.
Play that a bit better. Can he get into the 4 reds? unlucky, but he'll have to take a double on here, and it might be worth the risk of a double because he'd not leave anything.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, 8.
I think he's pleased the double didn't go in now because he didn't get on the black as he intended. But he did try it. The only red he could leave was the one he was doubling. On his left, possible chance of that.
This red pots in the middle, but he can't hold for the black, and if he runs through for the blue he's got to get top side of the blue, because I don't think any of these 4 reds that are in the pack will pot. Well, he's digging down on it, so he's playing for the black. This makes the pot a lot more difficult. Well, he just can't cure ball better than that. He could hit that 100 times and not hit it that good. He's got a perfect angle to play the cannon. Ronnie must have thought he was going to kiss the front red of those 4, and he's kissed the outside one.
Not very often you're left with a little triangle of reds, just 3 there. But that was an important cannon there. If it had to come off, he could have won the frame. He's just taking his time over the next shot because it's not a straightforward safety. Pink slightly in the way of him playing twice across the table.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, 8.
No real fireworks yet in this quarter-final, but they're evenly balanced. 3 frames all, 40 points all. Could say that was close.
You saw Ronnie smile then when he, I don't know whether his tip hit the side of the table when he was trying to cue up, but he certainly didn't get his cue in his bridge hand as he meant to. It was the cue that rattled on the table, or the tip against the cushion. Which is his cue, I think, that bounced on the table. Got to be careful if he plays this up and down. He doesn't get the double kiss. Just coming up to 2 hours of match play. Has he got the double kiss? No, he's missed it.
Yeah, you've seen the match time just over 2 hours, but a lot of that was taken up in the opening frame, which was over 40 minutes. In fact, 42 minutes 19 seconds. And our Pulse viewers so far are correct. They thought that would be the longest frame, or the high percentages of them did.
It's going to be interesting to see who wins a safety battle and forces their opponent into playing into the 3 reds for safety. So if he covers this red up, this could be it now. Yeah, clever little shot that from Mark. So Ronnie's forced into playing to bring these into play. Not easy to cover behind any balls here. He'd like to get the white tight on the cushion, somewhere where the white is now, but tight on the cushion, that would cover these up. But it looks like he's got a gap. That was an aggressive shot. Got the white where we thought, but not playing that way around. A couple of half chances for Selby, only half.
gradually coming down again, the average shot time. It's going to be okay. When you take that type of shot on and miss it by that far, you always expect to leave something.
Clever little shot there. Ronnie knew he couldn't get in behind the green, but what he could do is make it awkward. And it's just gone in a position now where Mark can still get through to the centre of the white, so there's a possible pot on here. The red that's nearest to the cue ball, I think if he gets close to the pot, he'll go around the back of the black. I don't think he's looking at that alternative at the moment. He's looking at the thin cut off the one just above the black. And the white's going to finish somewhere where it is now. Ideally, he hopes it'll kiss the green on if it goes in. Whizzes it far too thick. Needs a bit of help here. Well, if he's not left anything on here, he's been very fortunate.
Not easy because there's not a lot of places to hide the cue ball with the yellow, green and brown off their spots. You can't see an easy safety shot. What's wrong with knocking that sitter in? Yeah, it's just a formality, that one.
But this is the kind of shot, Dennis, if he's playing well, it's a certainty, but I'm not too sure he's cueing this kind of shot well enough at the moment. I could see that coming. He's just not cueing well enough to play that shot.
White.
Fancy they're missing that.
Both players do look a little bit edgy, and I think they're trying so hard they want to get an overnight lead, both of them.
But why they just roll it in? You can't miss the red if you roll it in, and the only way you can miss the red if you stun it in. He's just making it very hard for himself at the minute. He knows he should be in front already. He knows it should be 4-2, possibly going 5-2. But there's every chance here as that flew off the cushion. Goodness me, that was terrible.
That wasn't Ronnie's fault there. They have been changing the cushions every 3 days, Willie, but look at this, he only touched that, and look at the white.
Nine.
I think the green's going to be the key ball here, but it's not a problem for Ronnie because he can use his left hand just as good as his right, so there's not a problem being the wrong side of the table for him.
May have to play for it in the choice of middle or left hand corner. With a natural angle, he's going to have to play with a lot of side to get around the back of it, and he doesn't want to finish near the cushion the way he's playing because he's not cueing well, and he may have finished tight on the cushion here. I can see that it's just not
14.
happening, is it? Betwixt and between every time he plays a shot at the moment.
15.
But good recovery, but he's got another problem here, because looking at the angles he's got with either brown or blue, and the blue's the easier pot. He can't get close to the yellow. So this will be a good shot played left-handed. He's got to pot the yellow and come across the table.
Oh, sorry.
Leo Scullion just got a red out instead of the blue, but that's what
20.
Ronnie's looking at. If he can pot that and just off the cushion across behind the green. Is he
22.
hard enough? It's a bit more tricky now to try and just cut this in. He only needs the green. 23 in front. Ooh. You want them easier than this. You'd want them a little bit easier than this. It was the previous shot. If he had dropped in behind it, it would have been unmissable. And now Mark Selby can pinch the frame at this visit.
It's all about green to brown first, but then the important one, blue to pink, because he needs the correct angle on the pink to get on the black, and that's not straightforward. So not guaranteed at this visit to get everything perfect, but he's gone favourite.
He's got an angle here to play a little stun shot around those cushions, and anywhere near that line he'd be perfect on the blue.
7.
This is the key shot. It's not all about getting on the pink. Getting on the pink is not a real problem, but can you get on the pink with an angle that you can get onto the black? So slow with a lot of check side. Try and leave it 3/4 ball. Just see the white check up here.
12.
Well, he's virtually straight, so he's going to have to screw back. This is not a certainty, but you fancy him.
$18.
Well, it's a thin one. He needed to come back a little bit further. So could there be another twist to this frame, a frame that Ronnie should have won?
Yeah.
In fact, he's going to have the cue ball clean now just to settle the nerves. He knows the importance of this. If this goes in, he can't be behind going into the second session. 8 frames to be played. Right in the middle of the pocket. Ronnie O'Sullivan had a chance. He didn't quite get on the green as he intended. He took the risky cut down the cushion. It didn't go in. And Mark Selby cleared the colours. And he goes into a 4 to 3 advantage.
As quiet as possible, please. and gentlemen, the final frame of this session, Mark Selby to break.
Yes, interesting conversation there between Hazel and John, and you know, I agree with John wholeheartedly. It's so hard to keep turning up and turning it on all the time, but I think Ronnie's sometimes his own worst enemy because he gets himself at it very, very quickly. He just expects to play like he did against Mark Williams in the last session all the time. Now, this is one of the most difficult games in the world, and you can't play like that all the time. I mean, you know, people should take something out of Dennis of winning a session playing bad, rather than, you know, we all can win a session when you play well, but surely it should give you a bit of a buzz. I mean, this session he's played terrible. He's got a chance to be 4-4. Shouldn't he take something out of that?
Most people would, but Ronnie is a bit of a one-off, and he sets himself such high standards. He wants to be there entertaining the public, but it's not that easy. There's another player involved in the match, and he's going to keep you sitting in your chair. Little bit of a stalemate with that red up the other end of the table. Ronnie looks as if he's going to take a risk and try and get up past the yellow just to... Well, I thought he was, but that would have been quite risky. I think he now realises the importance of this last frame. If he comes out of the session 4 each, I mean, on reflection, I think he would be quite happy with it.
But you know, we know he won't, Dennis, and he should be, because he can't play any worse than he is at the moment. And he's made one break over 50, but that was the break of 67, and you're making it 3 each, and there you see his pot success rate. I mean, if you come out of this session, both players are below 90, so it's not been great. But first session, there's got to be a lot of nerves there, isn't there? Two of the best players in the world playing each other. They both feel that, you know, they've got a great chance of obviously winning the tournament should they win this match. They'll probably both feel like this could be the hardest match of the tournament for them.
And that's broke the stalemate now. The frame can return to a little bit of normality. Good length this time with the cue ball. It's a bit more like the Ronnie O'Sullivan we know in the tactical department, as he showed against Mark Williams. And that was interesting. Mark Selby just tapped the table to acknowledge that good safety. So although there is a little bit of tension between these two players, they've still got the utmost respect for each other. Yeah, I think people find it difficult to understand how you can play one of your best friends. I'm not saying these two are best friends, but when I used to play Cliff Thorburn here at the Crucible, it was like a war out there, and one of Cliff's friends came over with him once. I think he was a professional gambler, and he couldn't understand why Cliff was walking to the venue with me. Told Cliff he shouldn't even be speaking to me, but That's the type of game it is. When you get out there, it's all out war, and then you're mates again. Is this a possible plant? Not quite. He has covered it.
The red down the cushion he could play, but it looks like he's playing cushion first. Just a safety shot, leaving the white in the jaws of this pocket. Well, he's gone for the pot. Goodness me. What's he doing?
Well, if he's got away with that, he's very fortunate, because that was a very low percentage shot that he had tried there, and he has got away with it. I thought he was going to do what you mentioned. Well, he just played the safety shot, but it looks as if he wants to now get this session over and sort of go away, compose himself, and get ready for tomorrow's 2 session. Well, this is very scrappy. I don't think he's got away with it this time, but he's knocked the black safe, the pink safe, there's a red into the middle pocket, but where's the next colour? I just can't see how he can get onto a colour off the red that's available to the right middle pocket. Unless he can play with a lot of topspin and just glance off the reds. Well, there you can see it. Maybe he could pull that off. And he played it very well indeed. In fact, he's finished up hitting it too hard. But the yellow is available.
To play a little stun there to hold the white, and somebody was whistling in the crowd to suggest that that wasn't going to go in, and any harder it wouldn't have done, but he had to play it firm to get the stun so he could see this outside red. He's just looking to see if it's worth playing the cannon on the red to the left of the black, but that's fine if you get it right. If you get it wrong, you're on nothing. So should he wait for a better chance than this kiss? It's a lot easier to get on blue or bought colour. It was a very, very strange choice of shot at that stage of the game. But this time Mark, I think, has got away with it.
Mark Selby's got the 2 highest breaks in this match so far, a break of 84 in frame 2 and a break of 90 in frame 5, and well, Ronnie had to wait to frame 6. He made his highest, and that's only 67. I think it's one of those sessions where if it does finish 4 each, the players would have thought we should have just shook hands and took 4 each and concentrated on the second and third session, because I don't think either player have really enjoyed this, because they haven't really produced the form that they showed in their 2 matches previously.
Yeah, Selby's entitled to be very disappointed though, isn't he, if he doesn't win at least 5-3, the chances he's had. Okay, Ronnie's missed loads, so he would expect to be behind the way he's played. Selby's not missed that many. Not easy ones anyway. I mean, we saw that little montage of Ronnie missing 7 very, very easy balls. Selby's not missed that many. So if he came out 4-4, he'll certainly be very, very disappointed with his afternoon's work. And here's another chance.
Well, Ronnie just got down there and decided, well, I'll try and knock the red that's up the other end of the table back up this side of the table, and didn't judge it very well.
One.
He's overscrewed that. He's out of position, so it's going to have to be a safety shot. So it's a comedy of errors in this final frame of this session, and that probably is a bit of tension creeping in because of the importance of
Mark Selby, 3.
this frame. Is it going to be 4 each? Is it going to be 5-3?
Can pot the one down the left-hand side. The blacks come to Ronnie's rescue with the one down the right, but I don't think either are very good. So good safety might be the choice here. He's playing the very thin safety shot off this one here, just trying to get the white tight on the cusp behind the yellow spot. Played this to the inch. Just a gnat's hard, but that was the line and perfectly played.
At first glance, everything's covering each other, so no easy pot available. There you see it. Only 2 reds potted in this frame, and it's been going over 13 minutes, so the opening frame was the longest of the match. And our viewers that voted thought the opening frame would be the longest, in fact, of the match. But the way this one's going, who knows? Now he's pushed a red towards the pocket, and this time the cannon on the yellow turned out in Ronnie's favour. Otherwise that red would have been potable. He's got to try and find a path back down to try and get in behind the yellow. There is one red he can play off that could swing it around that, I would think. I just spotted a red. If he played off that red with lots of side, there's every chance that he could. I'm not sure if he's taken that one, but he seemed to be queuing up at it. I think it's there for him if he gets enough side on it. What a shot it would be if he could get in behind the yellow. Not quite, but it's pretty good. Although having said that, Ronnie can get through to the potting angle, so he wasn't far off getting that one absolutely right.
Well, the way Ronnie's queuing at the moment, it's tough to see him scoring heavily. plain ball, he would virtually kiss into the black with a cue ball here, so it's going to be tough to get onto a colour. If he plays it hard, it's easy to hit these thick. Kiss the black. What's happened to it?
White.
It's gone safe. There's the pink pot. Yellow's on. If the pink doesn't pot, there you can see that. Well, the pink's just about on. So if he does get onto a nice red, the pink's in play from this yellow. Oh, that's flew off the cushion as well. Goodness me! I think it's the heat in here, Dennis. That must have an effect on the cushions. The heat. It's boiling in here at the moment. Is he playing the pot? Is he playing the pot? I think he's had enough of this frame, don't you?
I think he was a bit annoyed at the bounce he had off the cushion when potting the yellow, and he thought, I'm just going to have a go at this. But I'll tell you what, that may have looked easy, but don't try that at home.
This is a safety warning with that kind of shot, Dennis, isn't he? You know, but he couldn't have hit it better. That's as good a cue as you could possibly have on a difficult shot. You saw Ronnie blow there, so whether Ronnie's feeling hot or not, I don't know, but this is a great chance for 4-4. And this would be almost the escape from Alcatraz if he gets out of this session 4-4.
Be interesting to see how hard he concentrates here. Doesn't have to cannon into those reds. Left side of the table. As he pots one, it will make another one available. And gradually
26.
they'll clear each other. Just had a quick look to see if the pink would pass the red.
$27.
Just using his options there, always worth a glance to see if the pink was available. He didn't have to play for it, but he's going to remove that red now anyway, so that doesn't come into play now. And the pink didn't go past it, so that was good thinking there. As I mentioned, he doesn't have to cannon into any of these reds yet. Much better to try and just drop on one.
$42.
Might have finished just a little bit awkward, that. There was two reds for the middle, but it's not dead straight. He's lost the white a little bit.
43.
Now can he cannon the end red when potting the black? If not, he's going to run away up the table. So he's gone wrong slightly here. He couldn't play the cannon, so now he's got a medium distance pot to keep this break going. If this goes in, you would think it'd be 4 each.
51.
I don't know how he does it now and again, Ronnie. I mean, literally, he can't make 8, and then all of a sudden, it makes 2 sizable breaks in the 2 frames after the interval. Break of 67 in frame 6, 57 and counted in frame 8. And apart from that, can't make 20.
58.
I think it's all about focus and concentration. You'd have to say it, the way he's been playing, and he really has put it all together. He knew the importance of taking this frame, and he's got his act together at the right time. It's amazing how he can turn it on.
This level,
65.
over this distance, can you keep, you know, having a bad session? one of these days,
6 to
surely,
6.
when he has his bad session, he's going to lose it 6-2. He hasn't done it so far this week. But how he's got out of this session 4-4, he doesn't know, we don't know.
73.
And I'm sure Selby supporters don't know, because Mark Selby's not cued too bad in the balls. He'll be kicking
74.
himself.
Well, it doesn't have set it up for tomorrow afternoon, and these two will come back for their second session and then conclude tomorrow evening, so it's going to be tense
81.
and it's going to be exciting.
Well, that won't worry Ronnie too much. The thing that will please him is the fact that he's actually won that last frame to level the session. It wasn't awesome, O'Sullivan. Should have been a little bit better scoreline for Selby, but they're all square going to the second session with 4-4.